Hello, everyone, and welcome to Game On Predictions. It's the penultimate weekend. I can't even get my words out of the Premier League. But before we get into that, first of all, thank you all for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you might upload more videos. I appreciate all of you who keep coming back and watching this as well. So let's get into it. 2 games left for Arsenal. 2 games left for the end of the Premier League season. And the next one is a big one. It's a big one. Manchester United. Don't come any bigger than that. And let's just get the elephant in the room out of the way. Arsenal suck at Old Trafford. We do. We literally suck at Old Trafford. It doesn't matter how United have been. It doesn't matter how bad they've been playing. I will be going there and giving it up to United at Old Trafford. I can't explain it. I don't think there is any logical reason. I remember one season, United had half of their team out. They were playing terribly. And then I think that was when Rashford probably had his first start in the season. And what did he do? They turned us over. I think the other season, I think it was Anthony's first start in the season. What does he do? Scores it against us. So if you follow that trend, then you might expect that there might be some debutant playing for Manchester United that we never heard of who might go ahead and score against Arsenal, because that's just how that rolls. It's been bad. It really has. Last season, I think we lost 3-1, Old Trafford. The season before that, I think it was 3-2. The season before that, I think it was a draw. I think it was the COVID season that we actually won against United. But it's not been good. It's not been good. United are unbeaten actually at home in 4 games. I know it looks terrible. And listen, if you were my United fan and you didn't watch that Crystal Palace game, for your own safety, don't watch it. It was bad. It was really bad. So Arsenal also undefeated, been winning in style. Obviously, for Arsenal, there's a lot at stake here. This is not just about 3 points. This is about keeping Manchester City honest, who will play on Saturday before Arsenal is to play. So, Arsenal need to win this. They need to win this game. You need to forget what has happened at Old Trafford and just literally go into this game hoping to take the win. That's just the only way that it can happen now. Listen, as an Arsenal fan, I'm always nervous about this fixture. I think in the fixture list, when we're all looking at the running into the end of the season, I pinpoint this game. I looked at this game and I said, listen, all the games, and we still hadn't played Chelsea, we hadn't played Spurs and all of that. I said, listen, I'm not even worried about Spurs. I'm not worried about Chelsea. This is the game that I'm worried about. Why? Because of the history. It just something about travel when Arsenal go in there that we need to break. And listen, there've been games this season in grounds that we've had to go and change the narrative there, and this is another one. You need to go and change the narrative. Listen, Arsenal's just bad in Manchester. Let's just be honest. It's not even just about United, it's also Manchester City. So really, really bad. But there are reasons to be optimistic that things are going to change this time around for Arsenal. I think one, Declan Rice. It's very, very difficult to actually quantify how much Declan Rice has affected Arsenal as a team. And listen, I talked about it in the other video. Let's check out the other video as well that I did on the reactions to the Bournemouth game. But listen, Declan Rice has been immense, absolutely immense. And the thing is that as good as he has been, Odegaard has been better. Odegaard has absolutely been on something. He's been on a mad thing. He's actually been the orchestrator, the conductor. Every now and then you just see him like popping into those channels. He basically owns that midfield closer to the final third. He is that good. And so you've got Declan Rice, who's made a huge difference for Arsenal. And then another player who's made a difference for Arsenal is Kai Havertz. And I know what you're going to say. He's now lost against Aston Villa. But go and check out what the manager did in that game. He put Havertz back in 8. Now listen, Havertz has shown right now he's not really an 8. He's a 9. Some people say 9.5. Whatever it is, play that man. Play that man up front, because what he does up front is absolutely ridiculous. The amount of goals that he scored as a striker this season. Forget the first 10, 15 games of the season, because we really didn't know it was the Kai Havertz experiment. He was playing everywhere. Mikel wasn't really sure about where he wanted to play him. But as soon as he started playing him, and I don't know why Arteta decided to change that for the Villa game. But anyway, that's gone. But Havertz has been immense. We watch Arsenal games, and when Odegaard gets that ball in the middle, it's a pass to Havertz. More likely, especially during transition, especially when we're picking the tempo up, especially when there are turnovers, that ball goes straight to Havertz. So that's one of the reasons why I think that this game is going to be very different. And also, Arsenal know what job at hand is. We need to keep City honest. And I think that's not lost on the players. You can see that in the last couple of games that they've played, and making sure that they're keeping them honest. And I think that's what they're going to continue to do. Listen, City would have played before Arsenal, so you could argue that if Fulham were to do something, against Manchester City, I think that would put pressure on Arsenal. No question about that. But I'm hoping that the players will be able to live above that. So the other reasons why Arsenal, I think, would do differently against United. Now, listen, United are going to be without a lot of players. Now, I see pictures of Lisandro Martinez in training. Rashford is going to be back. But I think the one player that really needs to be back for Man United is Bruno Fernandes. Because without him, I just don't give them a prayer in this game. Lisandro Martinez will be good. He will be very, very difficult. And he's a decent defender, no question about that. But I think if Bruno Fernandes is the player that they really need in this game. If you watch that game against Crystal Palace, the things that just kept coming into my head was, why is there so much space in the midfield? There was so much space in the midfield. There's a particular clip, right, that I will show you now. And this clip, I think this was the last goal that Crystal Palace scored. And count the number of Manchester United players, around one Crystal Palace player. And football is not a spectator sport. People always say it's a contact sport. But can you tell me what these Manchester United players are doing here? Because it seems to me that they're just spectating and just hoping that the ball was just going to just bounce back to them. Of course, that didn't happen. Slide route pass to Mateta, nudges the player off the ball. Olise does the business. There were so many examples in this game that nobody wanted to do anything in the midfield. It was just open. In Crystal Palace, every time they got their combinations in the midfield, it was working. Now, United tried to build up from the back, and everyone has started this new style of football where you're building up from the back, and it seems like that's the way that every team wants to go. And listen, Harry was like, hey, don't leave me out of the party. You want to build up from the back. But it didn't look very pretty. Got examples here of times where United tried to build up from the back, and the trouble is that they were not patient with it. So a few passes in the back, and next thing they want to get to the front very, very quickly. But Crystal Palace were ready for this. So this is what was happening time and time again. Every time United tried to build up, and at some point they kind of abandoned it because it wasn't working. But in the first half, it was time after time, a few passes, sideways passes, and then it was a long ball straight to the front. I'm thinking, who are they hoping to catch this ball? That for me is a reason why I think that things might be very different for Arsenal. Let me know what you guys think. Do I have a point with all of these things that I'm talking about in terms of Arsenal against Manchester United? The one stat that everyone has been talking about United, and depending on how you look at it, it could be worrying for Manchester United, but at the same time, it could be worrying for Arsenal. This is kind of those stats where it's funny because depending on where your viewpoint is, you could be saying, ooh, that's worrying for Arsenal. or you could be saying, wow, that's worrying for Manchester United. Let me know what you think. This is a stat that I'm talking about. Now, everyone was talking about the number of shots that Manchester United have faced this season. Well, there is a pattern. They've shown it in more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. It actually showed that this is a pattern. It's the shots that they face at home versus the shot that they face away from home. So let's just look at stats again. Right. So Man United versus Bournemouth. Shots faced 10. Bournemouth versus United. Shot faced 20. Man United versus Chelsea. Shots faced 13. Chelsea versus Man United. Shot faced 28. Man United versus Luton. Shots faced 10. Luton versus United. Shots faced 22. Man United versus Brentford. Shots faced 7. Brentford versus United. Shots faced 31. Man United versus Crystal Palace. Shots faced 8. Man United, Crystal Palace versus Man United. Shots faced 18. Now, this is just 5 games that I just pulled out. These are home and away games that United have played against opponents. Now, you might look at it and say, "Ooh, United versus less shots at home, but away from home, they're absolutely atrocious when it comes to shots faced." Or you could look at it and say, well, actually, every time United have played this opponent a second time, they face more shots from the opponent. So, I mean, there's a way you can look at this stats. I choose to look at it and say, well, it shows that United is decent when they play at home. They do better defensively. So if this game was at the Emirates, I would be thinking, well, according to that pattern, United are going to double the number of shots that they're going to face. And if you do that against Arsenal, you're going to concede. But this is at Old Trafford. So there's going to be a healthy respect for Manchester United in this game. What do I think would happen? I think Arsenal will win. I think that this game would have to have a lot of errors from Arsenal to allow Manchester United to win. And listen, it's football, right? So errors can happen, right? A back pass, that goes to Raya and Raya decides he doesn't want to make up his mind what he wants to do with it. That has happened in the Spurs game. Other games that has happened as well. So that error is still there. A dodgy offside call that happens, that's also very possible. There's lots of things, but I think individually, Arsenal have got the better team and should actually win this game. And listen, Arsenal away from home have been very good. They've won. They've not conceded a goal away from home in, I don't know, for a very long time right now. And they're currently like 8 games unbeaten away from home. And they've kept a lot of clean sheets. So am I expecting clean sheets in this game? No, because I think if Rashford plays, he also always has a habit of scoring against Arsenal, and I think that Man United have a goal in them. But other than that, I think Arsenal should win this game, and then it's going to be down to the Spurs game against Man City, which I don't think that Spurs are actually going to do anything. So as much as this is going to be great, we have to keep it going because anything can happen in the Premier League. I still don't think that's going to be enough. I think Man City is still going to win this league because they are just too good and they just don't blink at this time of the season. So, guys, let me know what you think about the Man United Arsenal game. Do you agree with me? Do you think that United are there for the taking? Do you think that United are going to do something against Arsenal? And whatever it is, let me know in the comments. Hit that comment section as well. And like and subscribe. And we'll see you in Game On Reactions.